This week on Men Pointing at Things.
Hey everybody, welcome to the PC Perspective Podcast. This is episode number 473 being recorded October 25th, 2017. I'm Alan Malventano.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
And I'm Ken Addison. What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. We've secretly replaced all of the normal people with...
Just tune out now. I mean...
Yeah, just save yourself. Just
run. Just some people use it to watch train wrecks.
Yeah, basically. Let's just run through all the rigmarole. Hey, you know what? PCPer.com/subscribe if you'd like to hear future train wrecks.
You would like to be notified of future train wrecks. Before they happen.
Yeah. Hopefully less future train wrecks than this one. And we just send out messages about anytime we do live streams there, be it this podcast or if we have people in studio for recording a thing or whatever. Patreon.com/PCPer.
Yeah, really the other one doesn't work. We should alias it.
We should alias that over. Is where you can contribute should you wish to. And I think, we're still far away from that milestone of a new weekly show.
Well, we already do that show now.
But we're almost at the milestone where we can get Ryan back occasionally.
We need to update that to say some other new weekly show.
Well, yeah, probably.
Take it up with the boss.
Yeah.
Well, we like the people so much that we decided to do it anyway.
We're just doing it anyway.
Yeah. Something like that.
That's how we roll. All right, cool. Got that. PCPer Mailbag number 14.
Haven't missed a week yet, I think.
No, I don't think we have.
No, we haven't.
I'm not sure I was here for when Ryan recorded this one to listen to what he was doing.
I think you were. I'm pretty sure you were on present for this.
Well, okay. I was here, and I probably wasn't listening to Ryan.
Yeah, because the end is very good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the ending's pretty good.
Now you remember it?
Yeah.
As a side note, if you have any storage questions, just go ahead and pass those along the next couple of weeks, because I think Allyn is getting ready to do a storage-only episode of this.
I am. Not only that, Jim has been,
saving the storage questions off.
He's been skimming the storage questions off the top and putting them in a little separate thing for me to do a storage one at some point, probably soon. Okay, what do we got next? Oh, yeah. The crazy good time that you and Alex had.
Have a good time with that.
That cold open is such a tease there, Alex.
I know.
Yeah,
I had to put it in there.
That's too much of a tease, man.
Sorry.
Like seriously.
Hey, I didn't show the money shot.
That's a rather large rocket you're making.
Oh,
there.
You have no idea.
No, that's just the first stage.
All right.
Yeah.
So, they were playing Kerbal, and there was lots of laughing coming from the other side of the office.
It was quite a good time. I don't know how it came across to the people watching the stream, but I had a really good time, which I think is what's important.
Yeah. We both had a good time.
Yeah. So definitely check that out if you wish. The chat is peppering us with storage questions in the chat now. So
depending on how long this podcast goes, we might get to some of those.
Maybe. But if they're good ones for something that I can kind of answer on the fly, then send them to the. What is the thing to send to the PC?
Either the YouTube comments of the last one or the post on PCPer of the last one. PCPer is probably the better place to post them. Just
comments
so
of the article
weird and buried. We can look at that stuff easier.
Yep, makes sense. All right, cool. So might as well jump into the week in review. Forza Motorsport 7 performance review.
Performance preview.
Performance preview, which the person sitting right next to me happened to have written.
That seems weird.
I know, it's
not necessary.
I know, right?
So Forza 7 came out earlier in October. I think it was the first Tuesday of October, the 3rd or whatever that was. And it launched day and date with PC, which they did for the last Forza title as well, Forza Horizon, which is their open world, still same sort of driving physics engine, but it's kind of Top Gear style. You're going around doing jumps and weird races and stuff. Whereas this is their simulation game, essentially,
Okay.
So Forza
Less
Motorsport,
arcadey.
Forza Motorsport 7 is the first full motorsport title on the PC. They did Forza Motorsport 6 Apex, which is like their sort of test case for the PC, where they just released a couple of tracks and cars for free just to kind of get some engine work done on the PC. But Forza 7 launched day and date with the Xbox this time, and if you buy the game digitally on one platform, you get it on the other, which is nice through the Play Anywhere initiative. They've really been pushing native 4K assets, HDR support, and cool graphical things like dynamic weather with this title on both the Xbox One X and the PC. So now that it's been out for a couple of weeks, both AMD and NVIDIA have released at least one or two drivers with optimization for it. I think NVIDIA released a game-ready driver, or maybe like a beta driver, and then they released another one, whereas AMD's only had one that was pretty well optimized. We decided to go ahead and take a look at performance. So we kind of ran through a lot of the normal GPUs you see around these days. RX Vega 64 versus the 1080, Vega 56 versus 1070, and RX 580 versus 1060. Sort of the three normal price ranges that we deal with. You got the higher ends, and then the $200 graphics cards with the 580 and the 1060 if you can find them, and then sort of cut in the middle with the 1070 and the 56. And there's good news. This game runs really well and looks really good on everything we tried it on.
Sweet.
Even at 4K, we got
4K
67 and 50.9 frames out of the 1060 and the 580 respectively. And these were max quality settings. So I mean, if you turn down a couple of things on the RX 580, you could play at 60 frames per second. Which I think is really cool, and it looks good. This game is very well optimized. Forza Horizon 3 last year had definitely some optimization issues. It was a very CPU-heavy game. They worked on some of that stuff in patches after release, but they've nailed it on the release of this one. There's some weird stuff where the game will default to dynamic settings where it's trying to adjust based on load and tying it to 60 frames per second. You could turn all that stuff off, and there's a weird bug / feature where you can't run with VSync off unless your monitor resolution in Windows is the same as you're trying to play the game. So if you have a 4K monitor and you're trying to play it at 25 by 14, if you just set 25 by 14 in the game, it will VSync on. So you have to actually go back and set your resolution in the monitor. It's like a weird UWP exclusive full screen thing.
Of course it's a UWP bug.
I mean, beyond that, it was fine. The Microsoft Store was a really fast download. Like, you can ask what drive you want to put it on now. They've actually fixed a lot of the Microsoft Store stuff that makes it more usable. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, if there's a free app, you don't have to log in anymore. Which I think is the only app store that does that. Like, I don't think Apple or Android or anyone does that.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, that's besides the point. So I was pretty impressed with the overall performance of Forza Motorsport 7. There seems to be some weird stuff I've seen the past couple of days about frame times. And if you go ahead and scroll down to the frame time chart, we just took a quick look at this to sort of verify what we were seeing. We were seeing a pretty smooth experience with all the GPUs we tested. This chart, you can see that the 1080 was a very smooth experience. I mean, we're talking less than half of a millisecond frame variance at the 95th percentile. Mm-hmm. Vega 64 was definitely more variant than that, but you're still under 2 milliseconds for most of the frames, which isn't exactly noticeable.
Yeah,
running at 60 hertz. Yeah. So it wasn't a big deal. I think there will be some further driver optimization that AMD can do on that side, though. There is one caveat. Mm-hmm. High refresh rate displays.
What about them?
So if you scroll back up to the average frame rate chart, up a little bit, you can see that
they level off.
So the orange is 25 by 14. Mm-hmm. There's no real GPU that can do 144,
yeah, the
165.
Blue is 1080p.
Yeah. So that's a bit disheartening. If you have a high refresh rate display, you're going to have to turn down some settings. Or
so does that mean you're
multiple GPUs? I guess, but I don't.
Does that
really
just
think...
mean you're hitting a CPU?
So another thing to notice is that the RX Vega cards don't really scale from 1440p to 1080p, whereas the NVIDIA cards do, and the RX 580 does.
Yeah.
So the speculation we have is that it is a pretty CPU heavy game. We had an 8-core 5960X processor in here, so I mean we had a lot of CPU horsepower behind it, but more might be tied to CPU performance than you're used to seeing, especially at high frame rates where you're running the simulation a lot faster.
Yeah.
So it's something to look out for. But for people running at 60 hertz on just about any resolution, you can get away with a lot. And personally, I think it's a pretty fun game. Like, it's a good racing simulator if you're not trying to go super deep into something like iRacing.
Yeah.
If you just want like a casual experience, worth
did you
checking
answer
out.
the most important question?
What?
Can you drive backwards?
It's frowned upon. I think. Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember how.
I'm
Forza
sure
is
before
disappointed.
you can just drive the other way on the track.
Well,
Probably.
I think they might turn you into a ghost after a while, so you don't have collisions because they're lame.
So we should let Ryan play this game and get frustrated. Then is what you're saying?
Yeah,
So Ken, you said the download was fast. How big was the
it's like
actual-
100 gigs.
It's 100 gigs.
Yeah, so it would not be fast
It's
for you.
100 gigs.
No, it wouldn't be very fast.
I mean, games are getting there these days.
That's up there.
What else is 100 gigs right now?
Doom.
Doom.
Doom's not 100.
Yeah, it is. When was the last time you downloaded Doom?
Did it just recently climb to?
They added all the DLC in for free, so it is like 100 gigs now. I mean, that like games are getting up to the 100 gig mark for AAA titles that are coming out, which is kind of insane, especially when you think about SSD capacities.
That's crazy.
Well, you have to have all the
and data
all the
caps.
graffiti on the Nürburgring updated in high res.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, might need to start practicing that because we're going to go to Europe next year at some point.
We'll have to do a series of Allyn simulates the Nürburgring in every game possible.
And then the video
That would be pretty funny,
and then
actually.
and then the video of me actually like doing it at the end.
Yeah,
like, in Europe.
we start out like Gran Turismo 1. whatever the earliest title we can find with the Nürburgring.
So then I'm actually driving on it and I'm cursing because I'm like, Gran Turismo 1 had this turn wrong. Dang it.
They've repaved it since then.
Yes.
As an aside, I recently saw the story about like how they built a roller coaster at the Nürburgring, and it was like it was a launch roller coaster, but it ran for like half a day or something like that, and was totally unreliable, and like maybe it had an I can't remember.
Of course,
if
it had
ran
an accident.
If it ran into trouble, but so there's just this roller coaster track at the Nürburgring that's been there for like 10 years that they don't use.
Just not used. All right.
That doesn't
So it's
seem
like when
very
you were
German.
playing Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much something I would design. I think. Yeah.
All right. Next, AMD Q3 2017 earnings, which we kind of thought would be favorable for them. They've been putting out some products lately that people actually kind of want to buy.
They've been putting out a lot of products.
Yeah. Let's see. What did they get? Oh, we don't have Josh here. Dang it. Company announced a revenue of $1.64 billion, up significantly from the expected 1.52. Hey, if you can beat Wall Street's analyst predictions, then you're probably doing pretty good.
Well, there's something about that.
300% boost from this quarter last year. How's that?
Yeah.
While they did beat expectations and had a really good quarter, their stock actually went down because they said that revenue will be down in the next quarter, likely due to crypto mining being less of a thing.
Oh,
And,
So their stock actually took a hit after hours yesterday because they kind of downgraded their revenue.
even though it's a holiday season coming up. Or
Yeah,
does
but
that
everyone
count as
who
the quarter after that?
was planning on getting like an Xbox or a Sony got one last year.
Yeah,
So they're not going to see that huge spike like they did last year.
They do have the One X
Yeah.
launch in a couple weeks here, but who knows how much
Yeah.
that'll actually do. I mean, yeah, it's good news. They're turning it around.
Yeah.
Which
They
is
need to turn it
very
around.
good to see.
All right.
So you mentioned that they said they were going to decrease their revenue because crypto mining is falling off.
Yeah, they're selling
GPU mining's
They're
falling.
selling
GPU.
less GPUs.
Like they sold a lot of GPUs last quarter due to mining.
Yeah.
Right. But is demand dropping off, or is that
it's certainly less profitable now. You can find GPUs for reasonable prices now. Yep. I won't say every model of every GPU, but you can find a 1080 for $500. You can find a 1070 for
you can find them close to their retail.
You can usually find one SKU pretty close to retail, maybe like $10 or $20. It's stuff like the RX 580 still is out of whack, but
it's no longer a case where they might list it, but they don't have it.
Correct. It doesn't seem to be that way anymore. I haven't bought a GPU in a while, but yeah.
Well, that's good for gamers. Bad for AMD.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
It's good to sell GPUs to gamers instead of miners.
They'll just have to build a custom ASIC to sell to the miners.
We were speculating about that today.
Yeah.
No, absolutely no inside information or anything. We're just like, well, I wonder
You're not
what
testing
happened.
out their beta model, are you?
I would wonder what would happen if one of these companies did that. But
It would make money.
It would make money.
Literally.
All right. Next up, ARM had a public safety announcement.
No,
I don't think it's quite.
That's not what they did? No. ARM introduces platform security architecture. Okay. Different use of the acronym.
But it was very much a public security announcement. Because this is all about security of the Internet of Things.
Okay. I mean, that's good. People are concerned about security in the IoT stuff. Right.
Well, they haven't been, which is why we're in the position that we're in now.
Yeah, we need them to be more so, basically.
Yeah. So they've already announced Mbed, which is their sort of operating system and monitoring software, just almost a year ago. And it's really interesting in that it's sort of the software portion and the operating system portion of this, where not only does it offer some security, but it also monitors any of your connected devices to see if there's anything strange going on in the way of traffic, extra power consumption, anything that could sort of indicate that you're a little bit infected. So with platform security architecture, this is their hardware firmware portion of it. And so essentially with the Cortex V8 Ms that will be released in the relatively near future, you're going to have some extra security features on it. Sort of the big one is the trusted firmware, which is completely compatible with their Mbed. So you're covered straight from software straight through to the firmware. There's Crypto Island, which is...
I don't want to go there.
Yeah, well, no, probably not. You'll end up mining. So it's on-die security. So you got a secondary layer of hardware sitting on the chip, which essentially sits between the outside world and your firmware to make sure that nothing is going to get through that isn't already signed off on Crypto Island. And it doesn't just do TCP IP, it does a whole bunch of other sort I'm looking for that's not coming protocols. So they're talking about putting these in cars, in small storage devices, just random, anything that has an ARM. And I mean, these guys have sold
everything at this point,
100 billion friggin' processors at this point. And then there's the secure debug channel, the SDC 600. Their security port on your device is turned off by default. You need to present it with a security certificate before it will enable itself. And it's not going to be a hardwired in one, so it's not a matter of one guy gets a hold of the certificate and now he can get at everything. They're going to be completely different and updated through the Mbed OS. So now all of a sudden the security port, which lets you take over an incredible amount of the equipment, which is for a good reason because it is for debugging.
Yeah, for debugging,
but
you
it's
need
been
access
used
to
as
everything.
Yeah, so it's been a vector of attack for a long time. So with this, it's a brand new way of doing it with our familiar security certificate process. So you won't be able to reprogram the chip without essentially having already gotten into the chip to the point where it doesn't matter if you're in the debug port or not. So it's really exciting because the vast majority of the Internet of Things runs on ARM. And by ARM sort of saying, ignore the manufacturer. If you're going to be doing it on one of our Cortex 8Ms, it's going to be there. You can't hard code in bloody backdoor passwords. It just won't work. So it's really exciting for people who are, starting to realize that their bloody light bulbs are mining for the Ukraine or something at this point. It's getting ridiculous. So this will be a huge step forward as we start to see it roll out.
All right. Cool. What do we got next? NZXT.
They got neural nets, apparently.
Yo,
What?
brains.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought they just had
they
cases.
claim to be doing deep learning on their fan controllers now, which is
Yes.
like, if deep learning hasn't jumped the shark as a term before this.
I mean,
How can you do deep learning on a two-dimensional problem? You have fan speed and you have thermal load.
oh,
And noise.
To be honest,
Well,
I didn't look that far into it once they started talking about
adaptive noise reduction.
doing that.
Yes.
I just kind of shut down.
And the PR for it was wonderful. It's like, even if you buy a new piece of equipment, your adaptive noise reduction system will learn its best ways of running and ensure a quiet operation while still remaining cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was impressive.
Seems kind of gimmicky.
Now
to
the
me.
cases they announced are pretty sweet.
That looks pretty cool.
Yeah, the H700i is your full sized one, so EATX boards will fit in there.
Yeah.
Not a problem. You will also like it. 7 2.5-inch bays and 3 3.5s, or we can turn them into 2.5s.
That's not
So
bad.
10 drives in there ain't bad.
Right.
Next up is the H400i. This is their mini or micro ATX case. So, I mean, it's $140, which is a decent price for a case of this size. Often, the smaller they get, the more they charge you, and all sorts of nice filters. They're all basically built in the same, and I chose the 3 different colors. Each of them available in the blue, the black, or the sort of silvery white. And this last little guy is the H200i, and you'll never guess. It's Mini-ITX.
Ooh.
I just wish they had something in this picture. These pictures for scale.
Well,
Because
if you
these
look at the
are-
colored back, the
Yeah.
PCIe covers,
yeah, so
you can
like
tell.
they are shrinking considerably from one model to the next here. It's just
And these are all AI compatible.
Ooh,
You can put in that Grid 3.
sweet.
I'm sure the Grid 3 will be a good fan controller.
Do we
but,
have
like,
do we got prices on? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one's 120.
120? That's
You know,
a little pricey for
120,
ITX,
140,
but
and then
it's not
200.
out the range.
Does NZXT make a line where they don't have the window on it? Like the same kind of nice industrial design like that, but they don't have that fingerprint-ridden window?
I mean, I think they...
It mentioned that there were variants that did not have it. I didn't see any for sale. I didn't see any pictures of them, but
Because
they're
it's not sexy, Jeremy.
Black spray paint's cheap.
Yep.
It's sandblasted. Paint comes right off of glass like that. I'd take it in the sandblaster.
Make it frosted.
Yeah, frosted
Let's put
glass.
some frosted tin over it.
Frosted glass. Okay, let's see. ASUS announces some more motherboards. Ryzen
Motherboards.
ROG Strix X370i and B350i. These numbers with the overlapping, the Intel stuff is really starting to piss me off
Oh, yeah.
because it's confusing.
You tell by the socket size now.
Yeah.
I
Just
understand.
Look at that socket.
Yeah. It's just, why are they overlapping them like this? Anyway. All right, so they're ROG Strix, which apparently we were discussing this the other day. Apparently, just you don't just get Strix anymore. You don't just get ROG anymore. Everything is ROG Strix.
Well, there are
I think there's monitors now that are just ROG Strix.
so at least on the motherboard side, there's still like the traditional ROG lines, like the Maximus and the Rampage and all that crap. But yeah, everything seems to be ROG Strix these days. Even laptops.
They're just ROG Strixing all the things. Okay.
Yes.
So Mini-ITX boards. Yep. Okay. What else do we got?
So this is important because while there have been a couple of Ryzen ITX offerings, they took a while to come out after launch. I mean, they've been out for several months now, but they're missing some of the features. They're from people like BioStar and what's the other one that I can't remember?
ASRock?
ASRock, yeah. Which, I mean, they seem to be fine motherboards from how they reviewed, but ASUS definitely puts a lot of attention into their ITX board, so it's nice to see sort of a more premium option for AM4 ITX
like that's
stuff.
what you're looking at right now. It's a heat spreader, an M.2, and your audio.
I'm trying to figure out where does the heatsink piece that's on the bottom go?
It might go over
underneath the
audio
board
component at like the amp or DAC they have.
Oh,
for the audio stuff.
Interesting.
That is interesting. I didn't see that before.
Is it that powerful of a DAC that it needs a freaking heatsink on it?
No, but why not ROG Strix heatsink?
Yeah, its dissipation is a half a watt, but
sorry,
it's got a big ass.
And there's also an M.2 on the back, so it might be tied in with that.
Let's scroll up a little bit, Alan. I was reading.
That sounds like
the small PCB is sandwiched between isolated heatsinks for an M.2 drive and the platform chipset.
Oh,
so there you go.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
So it's lifted off the board.
Yeah.
It's isolated.
Yeah.
Now, did we talk about a motherboard? Was it the ASRock last week that had that same sort of layout?
Mm-hmm. Except it had two M.2s on the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a third one on the front, sideways.
Yeah.
Fun thing I read about that motherboard is that only the back two are VROC compatible.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just
Because
disappointing.
the front one is is connected to the chipset.
Yeah. It's just disappointing.
Like, how many lanes does the platform have?
I think it's probably a routing issue more than a lane issue.
I know. It just baffled me that you would need to use the chipset for anything other than SATA and your USBs.
So that
and
Ryzen board also has the Wi-Fi card.
Yeah.
Which I could see why they might want attached to the chipset instead.
Yeah.
So
Is it on the riser or is it off the motherboard?
Not this motherboard.
Oh, okay.
On this one, it's on the motherboard. On the other one, the ASRock, it's on that strangely orientated one.
Huh.
Yeah, so I don't think we have pricing or availability for these. I think availability is supposed to be pretty soon. I think they're getting ready to launch these.
Okay, so I'm going to go off on a semi-rant/tangent while we're on the ASUS topic.
Tell me when it's over.
Tell you when it's over. Go grab me that little thing with the pigtail off of that desk, would you? The little thing with the pigtail. Mm-hmm. The little thing with the
Since
loop.
when did Alex get a pigtail?
The little thing.
When are we doing this? There's a
I guess we're doing
ribbon cable looking thing on my desk.
On Ken's desk. It's a little tiny
test bed.
black square with a little loop attached to it. Yeah, that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that thing.
This week on Men Pointing at Things.
Men pointing at the... Oh, Jesus. Of course.
That was a very expensive pigtail Jim just threw.
Watch the geek catch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a $250 retail item.
Whoa. I don't want to be a part of this shit.
$50 now.
This right here is this little tiny thing I'm holding in my hand is a VROC key.
Oh, shit.
Okay?
Oh, there you go.
It's a VROC key.
I swear it's a capacitor. Resistor.
No, I mean, it's got 4 pins.
Well, after you wax it, it supports
there's probably some
grade 3
silly public-private key thing going on. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, don't lose that.
We tested VROC. We wrote up a couple weeks ago. We talked about it on the podcast. We did 4 Samsung 960 Pros and a RAID because it turned out you can install the driver, the RSTE driver, and you can make a RAID in like trial mode, right? And you'd figure that you make this trial mode thing in preparation for, hey, should I buy this key to use the full feature, right?
Yeah.
You're trying before you're buying, basically. Sounds like a cool idea, right? You actually don't really need the trial mode, I don't think, if you want to do like a RAID 0 of Intel drives. Okay, because we booted. Yeah. We made another post later on that we had successfully booted from a RAID 0 of Optane memory drives because we're kind of cheating using, they're crosspoint drives, but yeah. But they're just Intel drives, and there's apparently this incompatibility or this very reduced list of what you can use that's non-Intel drives that are certified to work with VROC. Okay, so 960 Pros in a RAID, and we got a VROC key. I actually had ordered one and got it in. right?
You can find them on the right
You
parts of
can
the
find
internet.
them if you know where to look. Okay.
Mostly VARs.
So let's say you're a hypothetical person that has installed RSTE, which is you find on the internet. There's a couple of versions now that support VROC. Okay. You've tried it with your 960 Pros. All right.
This isn't really a hypothetical.
It's actually worked. We've actually done this. And then you get your VROC key in the mail. You're like, oh, cool. I can be official now. And I'm not on trial mode that's going to expire soon. And you plug the key in and the array goes away.
Yeah.
The array was working. It goes away.
I watched you do this.
It just disappears.
It's just gone. And all drives are listed as not compatible, only with the VROC key installed.
Wow.
Okay. So,
does it come back when you take the key out?
Yeah.
The first time we took the key out and rebooted the machine, it still said the VROC key was activated.
Yeah.
Another reboot fixed that.
Yeah.
But
it kind of tricked itself into thinking it had a key.
It seems like maybe that sticks somewhere in the registry.
Yeah, who knows?
Now,
who knows
these,
what's going on there?
Are these production firmwares we're dealing with, or are these pre?
No, this is on an ASUS motherboard. That's
awesome.
shipping, right?
I mean,
and this is a product that's
VROC isn't out yet.
Yeah.
So it's all very...
So,
yeah.
We reach out to Intel, and they send us back a list. Here are the products that they're basically like, look, VROC is an enterprise-minded thing. There's drives that are on a list. Here's the list. Everything on the list is a drive that you cannot purchase retail. So you're talking all the Samsung like SM and PM drives, which, yes, I know you can find if you dig around. But my point is, this is a retail motherboard. The VROC key is very soon to be a retail thing. They're not going to ship a different version of the VROC key when they do. It's going to be this key. This is the one, right? And it's like, all the Samsung OEM drives. There's a Toshiba like XG3 on the list, which you can't, which is an OEM only drive. Like, so all these things are OEM only drives, which that's fine if a system builder can like integrate this thing and, ship a system that has VROC and this RAID is already pre-built. But that's not the way that a lot of people buy RAIDs in their systems or assemble RAIDs in their systems. A lot of, and the other beef I have with it, is you have Z170, Z270, Z370.
Yeah.
All of which will do NVMe RAID. And there is
in a different way.
And there is no whitelist.
Yeah.
Pretty much, as far as I understand, any NVMe capable product you plug in works. So this is specifically a vendor style, not vendor, but like a market segmentation, whatever you want to call it, thing from the enterprise side that they've only validated with these drives, right? If anything, they should at least include 960 series drives on the client side of VROC. Like, obviously, this is like firmware level thing.
I think they'll get there by the time they officially launch it, whatever the hell that means.
I guess. And we're still getting conflicting information. Now, the last I heard, there were 3 different keys.
Yeah.
There is a standard key. There is a key that will let you do RAID 5. I forget the exact name of it. It will let you do RAID 5 and RAID 1, but only with Intel drives. Mm-hmm. And then the premium key will let you include the other ones that are on that list. Now, none of which are of retail products right now.
Yeah.
And we have had no indication, nobody has said such a peep as like, oh, this is going to change. Everybody that's told us, like, here's the list of products, that's it. Mm-hmm. Now, they might change their tune after there's some kind of blowback on this, maybe, if it happens.
Yeah.
We don't know. But as it stands right now, I'm basically telling everybody on the podcast, before we've even written about it officially, because don't spend your money on a VROC key.
Well, just don't do that in anyways. Just don't
but it's just, you're going to waste your time, and your money. Yeah. And one of the other storage editors in the storage editing community, actually spent a lot of money and time on this and recently went on a huge rant.
Yeah. No.
Because he got to the same point we did and was like, F this crap, basically. Just got disgusted with it, threw his arms up in the air. Anyway. Yeah. So there's my PSA. As far as
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just kind of ridiculous, right?
This is why we need cameras in here 24/7 so we can, play back the meltdown that happened and the response on your face.
It wasn't a meltdown. It was really just me sitting over there
going, what is going on?
And the array is gone. What? Like, this makes no sense.
It was more confusing than anything else.
Yes, it really was just baffling. Like, especially since you were
not
just
mad, I'm just disappointed.
That's what really boggles my mind, is that it worked in a trial mode. Why on earth could you let it work in a trial mode, but then the array breaks when you put the most expensive, supposedly $250 retail VROC key in? If I spend $250, the thing that was just working in trial mode sure as hell had better still be working.
Yeah, that...
Not a good experience.
I could start to rationalize the other stuff as whatever. It's an enterprise product. It has weird limitations. That's just usually how that stuff is. It sucks, but that's how it is. But the fact that you can create the array in trial mode and then get
it gets broken,
the license, and it doesn't work anymore.
And now we know what the key is for, to make sure that the trial version actually expires when it has to.
And
it actually doesn't enable anything. It just makes sure that trial is disabled.
And what was the other thing I was going to say? Yeah, it's not like... So the versions of the RST driver that we found were within the past few months. And the 960 series drives have been out for more than a year. So it's not like Intel didn't know that this drive existed, so that they couldn't blacklist it in the driver for trial mode or something. No. Like...
Yeah.
I mean, it was working.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And that has been Alan's rant for tonight.
Yeah. I hope Intel can figure out how to make a turn on that and get ahead of it before more people get angry. Because you're going to get more people buying these systems, buying a bunch of 960 Pros or something.
I don't think you're going to have a bunch of people doing this ever.
The kind of people that are going to do it are going to spend a lot of money, and they're going to be very vocal when it doesn't work. Is my point, right?
So the consumers
Intel could be getting ahead of it, right? Because think about this: you have AMD RAID, which, by the way, another semi-rant. We've been trying to get working properly for multiple weeks now. We can hit the same numbers that Der Bauer hit, but as soon as we try to write to the drive, the read speed's cut in half.
Yeah, there's some weird thing.
Weird crap going on. We're trying to figure it out left and right. We've gone back and forth with AMD, with ASUS, tried all sorts of stuff. It's a pain in the butt, right? But guess what? It works with all drives we've thrown at it.
Yeah.
There's no whitelists, blacklists. It just works. It may not work. The performance may not be the best yet, and there might be
it's a whole lot better than 0 bytes per second.
And it might have potential blatant security vulnerabilities as per Wendell and
don't install the web part of that driver, which is
I think that would be a bad idea.
Yeah, the driver.
Don't do that.
I will say this: AMD, all the features are present at the BIOS level.
Yeah, and
so you can make the array and do all that stuff in the BIOS, and only install like the F6 driver under Windows, and you don't have to install the entire thing to get.
And you can also configure it in Windows without the web interface if you just use the command line tools.
True, or you could just install the stuff, configure it, and then uninstall. All that stuff.
But how many users are going to go through and do a custom install and not install the GUI tools?
No, I'm with you. It's just that it's running at basically, several version old bits and pieces of different tools that allow you to, access things via web.
Oh yeah,
it's a local host.
It's an awful,
and it's not filtering only from local hosts. So in other words, you can access it from elsewhere on the network.
Yeah, it listens on all interfaces, and it's running its system, and you can run executables on the command line directly from the
not just
interface.
Executables. Potentially, you control your buddy if you're on his Wi-Fi at his house. You can log into a server and delete his RAID out from under him.
Yeah,
probably not the best.
Good times.
Yeah, great times. Yeah, just some random
don't worry,
person.
There's a web server running at port 80 with the. With all of the information about what version of PHP it's running and allowing you to execute code and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So basically, as far as all these, workstation class machines from both sides are messing up the whole RAID thing. Big time. Just saying. One way or the other.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, they haven't got it working in the first place.
Well, I meant the old style RAID, not this new improved.
Well,
and by improved, I mean...
Don't get me wrong. The VROC... performance-wise, is sweet. It totally is. You don't have the DMI bottleneck. I was doing 22.2 gig per second on 8.
Okay, that's...
Yeah. 22.2, right? With freaking 960 Pros in a RAID. I had to put the GPU on the last slot because I didn't have places to put the two.
Doesn't really fit there either on that board.
Oh yeah, by the way, ASUS, when you plug this VROC key into the board, you can't fully seat the GPU in the last slot.
Well, the GPU doesn't go in the last slot. Is the answer to that?
But I'm just saying, it's the header is in line.
Yeah, but the GPU doesn't go in the last slot. Is the answer to that?
But I wanted to buy 8. I wanted RAID with 8 drives, which you have to use the first 2 slots for, or the first and third. Anyway. Yeah. Rant and sub-rant over. Okay. I said I could stretch the podcast out a little in case it was short, so there you go.
Yeah, you did.
All right. Josh rant over.
So many emails about that one.
I mean, just...
Ryan, you would not believe what you guys did this week.
Listen, it's not like we haven't given both sides multiple weeks worth of chances to figure out their messaging. So if not me ranting, there'd be a post up already for either one of these. Thanks. Okay. Back down to other things to rant about. No, this is not a rant thing.
This is a good thing.
This is actually a pretty sweet thing. Is this also include
thing?
This also include the resolution stuff, the 4K stuff? Okay, so Microsoft now supports original Xbox games on Xbox One. So they're adding Xbox games. They're starting with 13, and then there's going to be more coming soon. Not only are they supporting them, but they're like, are they adding textures or are they just upscaling it better?
So I forget the exact technical details, but they're being upscaled, and I think AF is being applied. They're doing some post processing on top of the image, and you should start to play that video.
Okay, I was just
because
making sure we didn't get the takedown.
You would think, okay, and whatever, they can upscale some 480i/480p Xbox games. It's not going to look that good.
Yeah, no, they keep swiping back and forth in this video, and it looks damn good.
Yeah. No, there is some speculation that this video might have been captured, not captured at 480p, which is what the Xbox supported if you had the component cables.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, most people played without the component cables. And it's a night and day difference.
Yeah, I mean, it looks way better. And it's the same content.
Yeah.
It just,
And so, I mean, that's the order probably was available on the PC. So the PC version still looks a little better than this because it has higher res textures, I believe. But,
yeah,
it's a game that you kind of probably want to play with a controller. And that game's old enough that the PC version doesn't really have controller support. So I plan on going back and playing this.
There's a video. It's not the video I'm playing now, but there's a video that shows the differences in Halo.
Yeah.
And it's also a really good example.
And the cool thing they did is, I don't know if they added all of the games, but a lot of these games are available to buy digitally now. So KOTOR was like $10 or $15 I saw earlier.
Oh, okay.
This week.
So if you just want to buy the oldies.
Yeah. And they're giving was it Ninja Gaiden Black free to Xbox Games with Gold members this week.
Really?
Yeah. So and I saw particular talk about Ninja Gaiden Black on 4K on the Xbox One X looking very good.
That game looked good originally.
Yeah. 60 frames.
I gotta play that again. Unlabored flawlessness, baby.
Yeah.
It was a big plank. It's probably the best weapon in the game. The more damaged you were, the more closer to death you were. It was just a wooden plank. But the writing on it would start glowing red as you got closer and closer to death. And it exponentially increased the damage that it did the closer you were to death. So if you get into a boss battle, you get down to 1% health, and you would literally one hit this boss and just take him down to nothing. It was freaking sweet. It was so cool of a weapon. Anyway. Psychonauts. There's another good one.
Psychonaut. I mean, those are all...
Sands of Time. Those are all goodies.
Yeah, no, they're good. Good titles.
Yeah.
Wow. Sands of Time was such a good game.
Yeah, it was. It really was a good one.
I need to play KOTOR again.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
Cool. All right, so that's good news if you're a Xbox person.
Yeah. It would be nice to see these come to PC one day. There's no reason they can't do it now that they're emulating the Xbox on Windows 10, essentially.
I mean, they're kind of sort of doing...
There's no reason they couldn't do it, besides maybe licensing issues.
Well, Sands of Time was on PC.
Yeah, I mean, some of these titles were on PC, but it wasn't exactly an era where you had good PC ports.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But they are kind of sort of doing like what Dolphin does for like Wii games.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's people putting out texture packs and stuff, and you could play Zelda in like 4K and like, all this, crazy, higher resolution and everything. And now they're just doing it on a console with their own games.
Officially.
So officially, why not? Like beat them to the punch. Good. Yeah.
I think it was IGN this week had an article you can go back and search for about the whole emulation project and how it was like a Skunkworks thing that two teams were working on like before the Xbox One launch, and it got tabled after they had the whole DRM thing, and they kind of had to come together and change a lot of shit in the OS.
Yeah.
So it was a good story about how there are some dedicated people who wanted to get this done at Microsoft, and they got it done. They're adding more games.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for the rants and the weekend news. And
I don't know if it's done, but not that. I mean,
what?
There could always be rants.
No. Anybody else got a rant before we move on?
I don't know yet. I got to be in the moment to rant.
Oh, it's not. Okay. All right. All right. Picks of the week. Let's do it. My pick is a book that I had pre-ordered and finally came in, called Cinemaps. It's this guy, Andrew DeGraff, does these huge, like not huge, but like he does these, he actually paints these, like he comes up with a plan, he paints them, and then this is basically a book of prints that he's done. And what he does is he takes a movie, figures out the path of all of the characters in the movie, figures out how to fit all the scenes in the movie onto one drawing, and then connects them all, the routes of all the characters. So like for example, which one is this?
The Princess Bride.
If it ever decides to load. I mean,
I recognize that map.
Amazon should get some new servers.
It's probably just this laptop being a dork or something. Let me try a different picture. Like, I don't know. It's not loading.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go.
There you go.
So there's the Princess Bride.
Wow,
Interesting.
That's really neat.
And like,
I really have a bone to pick with a font that he's picked, but
yeah. and there's Star Trek, the newer Star Trek, first one from a few years ago.
And I can see 3 plot holes on it.
No.
Well, yeah. But like they have some really cool ones. There's like I've already kind of flipped through it. He has the first 3 Star Wars, time wise, the first 3.
Yeah.
There's like Wizard of Oz in there. That looks pretty cool. There's The Shining, including the maze. It's just really, nice touches, and the art is like super detailed. He has like a 2-page spread that's Lord of the Rings, and I think it's all the movies all together.
I mean, that would make sense,
like all in a row.
It is just one long walk.
It's hard to, like, I had to bust out a magnifying glass just to look at that one. So not only was it a 2-page spread in a fairly large format book, but the lines of each character were just like super thin.
Yeah.
So if you dig around, you can actually find like the art, you can actually buy, if you really like one of these, you can find the guy's actual art like on a site, or you can find prints of it, like poster size prints.
Yeah.
But they're all really cool. I saw one of these and was just like floored, and I was like, okay, I got to get that book. And he apparently has,
it's a good coffee table book.
He has another book which called Plotted, which I don't have, but he basically has the storylines of novels that he has drawn out into, like what would happen, who went where and when. So I'm probably going to pick that one up too. Anyway, cool book. Who's up next?
Jeremy, I think.
Jeremy.
Yeah. An even stranger to say something nice about Microsoft.
Is your pick just a post on the site?
Well, I mean, self-promotion.
Oh, okay.
It's good as self-gratification. So the new creators update came out with some things that were kind of meh and some things that were okay. And one thing that even slipped under the radar for me until I read about it this week was controlled folder access, a brand new thing under the Security Center, which essentially prevents changes to any folders except by specific apps that you permit. And it starts with everything is blocked and you have to add exceptions. Now, you might say, well, okay, who the hell cares? I mean, there's already antivirus and this, that, and the other thing. Well, this is specifically for ransomware. when all of a sudden Firefox suddenly starts encrypting your entire bloody file structure, it's going to notice, it's going to stop it. I mean, you may have already unlocked downloads and a couple of others because it does take a little bit of setup to do. You will find stuff where it pops up and says it's been blocked by your security center. But I deal with on a daily occasion at work. And I'm talking to the security guys to say, just friggin', for the idiots who have gotten on Windows 10 for whatever reason, they're usually the ones that we really need to do this for. Because if I can stop it at the damn PC level, I can stop it before it hits the damn network drives, which is when I actually care.
Okay.
It's kind of nice. And it goes on top of Bitdefender if you want to be already using that. It's a decent protection. But controlled folder access, I'm just looking and going, anytime someone shows up with a PC in my personal life that needs help because they've screwed it, this is getting turned on.
Yeah.
And I will deal with it keeps asking me. They're like, yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Because I really have got a bone to pick with these ransomware authors. And this is a really good way of stopping it dead. You will have to pick up the creators update to do it. There's another link on the site as to how to do that manually if you don't want to wait for it to be pushed.
You can force it to pull down.
Yeah, you might want to wait for it to be pushed because there's been some negative effects to updating to it. So let Microsoft get ready to push it out to you.
I mean, we haven't had any bad experiences here yet.
Yeah, it's been running on my machine here at work, and it's been fine.
I haven't had a bad experience personally yet, but I've read more than a few that were more than just someone bitching on Reddit, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's actually an issue.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'll fix those in next patch Tuesday or
exactly.
two. All right. Hey, look at that. I have a pop-up.
I'm taking the easier way out. I saw this sale come across today. 850 Evo, 500 gig, $130 at Micro Center.
That's cheap.
It's 26 cents per gig.
That's pretty cheap.
It's not 10 cents per gig. Ryan's not here, so we can talk about slightly more expensive
cheap
SSDs.
For a very solid drive.
Yeah.
It's not NVMe, but it's about as fast as SATA goes.
I did look. I believe it's $149 on Amazon right now if you don't have Micro Center, which is, it's still a pretty decent little discount there off. I think it normally goes a little higher than that. But yeah, if you have Micro Center nearby, I think this is in-store only, which is unfortunate.
And limit 2.
Yeah, limit 2. But $130 for...
But, with these games that are 100 gig each, you might as well buy 2 and RAID 0. I'm just saying.
True.
You're
back up if you do that. Back up.
Yeah. Well, just make that your, listeners to this podcast probably already have an NVMe SSD, but you need another, terabyte lying around for all these dang games, which they're probably getting through the cloud anyway. So if the RAID 0 goes away, you've probably just lost your game downloads, which you can just pull down again. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't have a data cap.
Somebody linked me a Micron 6100 or something SATA drive.
Yeah.
$500 for 2 terabytes. It was a 2 terabyte SATA SSD.
That's nice.
That's pretty impressive.
Hold on, I can. It was on Amazon. I'll look up the part real quick. Oh, Micron 1100.
Never heard of that.
2 terabyte.
Huh.
It's probably using their 3D. Yeah, it's using their 3D TLC.
Yeah.
It might not be a fast drive for writes, it might not even have any SLC cache. I don't know, because I haven't, I don't even think Micron's ever told me about an 1100 series drive, honestly.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been on my radar. But, that was 500 gig for, similar to what this is, right?
Yeah.
But just a tiny bit cheaper.
So to correct myself from earlier, someone in the chat said this. Ninja Gaiden is not free for Games with Gold members. It's free for Xbox Game Pass subscribers, which is the $10 service that gets you access to $10 a month, gets you access to a whole bunch of games.
Oh.
Over 100 Xbox One games and 360 titles, and now start to have Xbox titles. So it's not with gold. It's the $10 Game Pass thing, which I think they have like a month free trial for now. Maybe that's only with the One X, but $10 is still pretty cool for access to all of those games.
Yeah, that was one of our readers. What was it? Randall sent me that tip. Okay. Alex, did you buy a flip phone?
No, I did not buy a flip
candy bar phone.
I bought a candy bar phone.
Oh.
My Nexus 5, my trusty Nexus 5 that has been running for 4 years, finally gave up the ghost last week.
Well, it was made by LG, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I had bought the whole warranty for the thing through T-Mobile and talked to the wonderful lady at their support and like, all right, it's going to be, $150 deductible and we're going to give you a something S4. I don't even know what it was. Looked it up and it had a whole bunch of malware or bloatware installed on it. You can't get rid of. That's drives me up the wall.
Okay.
That I can't remove software from a device that I own.
I mean, can you root the thing?
Maybe.
You can, but then you got to deal with all that. And I've been down that path and I've reverted back to stock Android and I was frustrated with my smartphone, and I wasn't going to buy an iPhone.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to buy a freaking $600 Android phone.
$600, that's a cheap Android phone.
I know,
these days.
I know.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit ragey about it, just a little bit. I got this sucker, a Nokia 105.
So flip to the
It's a 105. This is actually the older model. They come with a newer model now. It's the 105 2017 edition. It's a little bit more streamlined.
Is that $22?
$22. It makes phone calls. It sends text messages. It has an alarm clock, and it has Snake. That's all you need from a phone.
All you need.
Okay.
$22.
How long does the battery last?
35 days.
Remember that? Remember those days?
35 days in standby, 13 hours talk time.
35
I can take this on a dive trip on a boat and not carry a charger.
Yeah.
And if I break it, if I run over it, it's $25.
What is the problem with the world we live in today where a $22 phone lasts 35 days on the battery, but we're lucky to get 2 days.
Charge it. Hell, I just toss it out and buy a new one.
Exactly.
We're lucky to get 20.
I mean,
you could just buy new phones when the battery die, and you're still cheaper than an iPhone after 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I have not charged this phone since I got it. Let's see. I don't know. You probably can't see it.
Oh my God. So what's your battery at?
It's locked.
Oh no, it's locked.
Let's see here.
Put your fingerprint on it.
Yeah, you got to touch ID that thing.
No, you can't see it.
So what does it say?
I have 2 pixels down on about a 10 pixel bar.
Jesus,
it's never seen a charger.
So
in 4 days.
As the chat did point out, this is a 2G only phone.
It is a 2G.
Going to be an issue at some point.
T-Mobile has guaranteed they're going to support the 2G spectrum through the end of 2020.
Yeah, but I think everyone else's cutoff is a little quicker than that.
Yeah, I think
the chat like wants this phone. They're like, "Is there a link for this?" Jeremy, put the link for the thing in the chat.
I did.
Oh.
Then they got talking about pickup trucks, and it got chased off.
Oh, they've been talking about pickup trucks for the past hour.
Oh, Jesus!
$22,
$22.
But even if you don't use it as a primary phone, because I can probably fix my Nexus when I finally get around to it. It needs a new switch solder to it. I just didn't want to deal with it. They make all the reviews I read about it. They said they make great festival phones.
Yeah,
you have this $500 smartphone. You're going to go to a music festival. You're going to go on a trip. You're going to go through TSA.
Yeah.
$25. You slap your SIM card in it. You're good to go.
Yeah, that's true.
There's nothing on it that, TSA can't search your phone. There's nothing on it. There's no GPS.
Good luck, buddy. Here you go.
Yeah, here you go.
All those dirty text messages.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that if you know what you're doing, GSM, it's not just cell phones. There is a crap load of stuff that uses GSM.
Yeah.
So I'd be shocked if you're totally cut off.
Yeah, TSA might suspect that they might suspect you just because of this phone.
Well, that actually is kind of an interesting aside. If you look up the Nokia 105 terrorist, apparently ISIS has been using this phone ever since its inception because it's so reliable as a detonator.
Oh, that's
a positive and a negative wrapped up into one.
Well, I mean, it works.
So,
it's reliable.
Days.
So from this point forward, we will refer to your phone as the bomb phone.
Yes, that's fine.
Your phone is the bomb.
My phone is the bomb.
I'm just gonna every time it rings, you might as well make it sound like a deet deet, like a you're changing your ringtone to
it doesn't have.
If you buy a Casio digital wristwatch, I'm leaving the place.
Yeah.
Cassie watching a Nokia phone.
Yeah.
That's a red flag.
Yeah,
on
wow.
Amazon account.
And now the police are going to show up at my house tomorrow. Thanks. Great.
The shape of that phone reminds me Nokia has made a phone that's been that basic shape.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
I think it was 10 or 15 years ago. I bought one for my wife because she kept breaking, but there weren't smartphones out, right? So
it's 3310, baby.
I walked into a Best Buy, spent $50, no contract, nothing, on just some Nokia really cheesy phone, right? And then they tried to upsell me on the freaking extended warranty plan. And I was curious because I was well, my wife just broke her phone. That's why I'm here. How much is it? Is thinking $10. No, it was $50
for an indestructible cell phone.
So I actually stopped in my tracks at the lady. I'm wait, the phone is $50, and started a discussion with the checkout lady. Do you realize that the phone is $50? Yeah. How much is the plan? $50. The phone is $50.
How many replacements does it cover?
I could just come back and just buy another one for the cost of the plan. What are you guys doing? Anyway. And that phone lasted my wife 5 years or something. Until she got an iPhone.
You need to be a super hipster and get the new Nokia 3310. The smartphone-ish one. It's still a feature phone. It doesn't run Android. Well, it might run Android.
Battery life on that one, 3 hours.
Yeah, you're talking about the 3310 repop. That's
the 2017.
That's only available in Europe, isn't it?
I think it made its way here. I know some of the Nokia phones have been making their way here.
Yeah, because isn't there something funky with the 1900 versus 1800 megahertz band?
Yeah, something like that probably. 744 hours of standby time.
That's
Chat's giving me crap because I was giving the lady at the checkout crap.
Yeah, I mean, you really shouldn't.
She shouldn't bother to upsell me on that.
It's her job.
I know. If I'm working at Best Buy and the upsell costs the same as the dang item, that's the one that I just forget to offer. Just because. Sorry.
You're not going to get a very good rating from your manager.
I know. I'm probably not the best person to work at Best Buy.
Not wearing enough flash either.
Yeah, flare.
Or flare, sorry.
Yeah, flash. Although I would be wearing flash if I was working at a Best Buy.
Anyways, that's been it for this episode of the PC Perspective Podcast. Join us next week when hopefully we have some more people.
And we rant less.
Yeah, rants are good.
Anyway.
I like the rants.
I'm Alan Mamontano.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
And I'm Ken Addison.
And then there's Alex over
there. Hey, Alex.
See ya, bye.
See ya.